morning, my brothers and sisters. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another Good Morning Grief Devotion. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. So happy, excited, ecstatic, and elated to have this wonderful opportunity to come to you on today and lead you in a very special way in yet another grief devotion. Yo, this is the day that the Lord has made. He has commanded us to rejoice and to be glad in it. We are grateful and thankful for this day, for this time, and for this opportunity that we shared together. This is the daily grief devotional that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, it is the natural and normal response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. Grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is how you express it on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, we express it, we don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. And that's why we shout good morning, because morning is a good thing. We are grateful for this time together. I had a wonderful opportunity to go on a radio show yesterday to talk about grief. And it was just such a blessing. It was so refreshing to bring awareness and some education around this topic of grief and really stressing. I know that the primary focus here is grief as in the loss of a loved one, but y'all, we know and understand that grief even extends beyond that, that it deals with any loss, change, and transition in your life. I told somebody the other day, I said, everybody is grieving. We just don't know it. Everybody is grieving. We just don't know it because everybody is dealing with loss, change, and transition in their life. And if you're not dealing with it currently, then you're dealing with it historically because there has been loss, change, and transition in your past that you have not processed. There's loss, change, and transition in your past that you never processed and is still affecting you on today. And so I'm just grateful for this opportunity to be able to bring awareness and education and to help you to navigate through your grief. Remember, small steps lead to great distances. And so every day in every single way, we're just attempting to help you to navigate through the grief that you're going through and experiencing. If you got questions throughout this devotion, drop it in the chat. I promise you I'll come back and I'll pick it up at the end. And without further ado, let's prepare our hearts and our minds to dive into our grief devotion on today. Today is day 13. We're going to talk about my life constantly changes in ways I can't control. My life constantly changes in ways I can't control. You got to know that's the essence of grief. Grief deals with loss, change, and transition, and your life is going to change in ways that you cannot control. Your life is going to constantly change in ways that you cannot control. There's going to be change in relationships, change in friendships, change on your job, change in your feelings, change in your financial situation. There is change that you're going to experience, change throughout your life, right? And there's going to be change that you cannot control. The question becomes, how do you deal with this change? How do you navigate through this change? How do you process this change? How are you grappling with the change that's taking place in your life? Sometimes the change is good. Sometimes the change is not so good. Sometimes the change is wanted. Sometimes the change is unwarranted, right? Sometimes the change, you love it. And sometimes the change, you loathe it. But life is filled with change. The question becomes, how am I navigating through the changes of life? How do I navigate through the changes of life? When I go from working to retired, how am I navigating through that change? When I go from junior high to high school, how am I navigating through that change? When I go from high school to I graduated, ooh, that's a big change. How do I navigate through that change? Not just the student, but even the parent. Because now your little itty bitty baby boy that you just brought home from the hospital seems like yesterday, but it was 18 years ago, is now graduating. That's a change for you. How do you navigate through the change of getting older and now you were once independent, but now you need a little help? How do you navigate through the change of age? How do you navigate through the changes of your body? How do you navigate through the changes of just life, period, right? How are you navigating through the changes of life? And this is where grief comes in because you feel something about the changes. You don't always reveal it. You feel something about the age and stage you're entering to in life, but you don't always reveal it. You feel something about the changes that's taking place in your mind and your body and your spirit, in your life, in your church, on your job, with your friends. You feel something about the change, but you don't always reveal. That's where we get stuck, stalled, and stagnant. That's where we stop, because I feel, but I don't reveal. I'm grieving, but I don't mourn, right? And so we got to know and understand that my life constantly changes in ways I can't control. Let's get to it. Our culture tells us an imaginary story about human life, right? Culture says that we grow, we go to school, we get a good job, we get married, we have children, we work hard, we succeed. We enjoy our friends, our family, and eventually our children's children. Then we die happy after a long, fulfilling life. This is the imaginary story that culture tells us. This is the essence of life, right? This is what culture tells us. But guess what, y'all? It's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale. Y'all know fairy tales. Cinderella and the Seven Dwarfs. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I'm mixing them together. Cinderella, that's the one with the shoe, right? Cinderella with the shoe. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, right? These are fairy tales, right? For one, our unique spirits may find meaning in different life trajectories. That doesn't have to be everybody's trajectory of life. Go to school, get married, have children, get family. Everybody has different trajectories. Sometimes it's the peer pressure that culture puts on us to conform to a certain way, right? Conform to a certain way. I remember there was a young lady, straight A student, and everybody was saying, go to college, be a doctor, be a lawyer. She said, I want to be a photographer. And they was like, whoa, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean want to be a photographer? Want to be a photographer? It's the peer pressure that culture or life or family and friends puts on you, right? And sometimes your life takes a different trajectory, right? You got to give people the freedom to explore. Because that may not be the way that I desire to go, right? And so understanding sometimes it's the peer pressure that they put on us. It's a fairy tale. Our unique spirits may find meaning in different life trajectories. And for another, things happen all the time that preclude or take away our wishes and attachments. Guess what? Change happens. Loss happens. In this life, change is going to happen. Loss is going to happen, right? Things change. People that you ran with at a certain age, you may not run with now. Things change. And it don't mean that things are bad. It doesn't have to always mean things are bad and bitter. It's just you may be going different directions. Change happens. How you felt in one season, you may not feel in another season. If you was wild and bad in your teens and in your 20s, you may grow up and evolve and develop, right? Change happens. Guess what? Loss happens. We're going to lose loved ones. We're going to lose interests. We're going to lose jobs. We're going to lose friends. We're going to lose relationships. We're going to lose what we had in mind. Loss happens. It is a part of life. Grief is the natural and normal response to loss, to change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. Natural and normal response to loss and change. What is your normal response to the loss you've experienced and to the change you're experiencing in your life? That's grief. The natural and normal response to loss and change, right? Because change happens, loss happens. I'm learning that reconciling my grief has a lot to do with reconciling myself to the realities of unwanted change in life. Y'all, please hear me. Reconciling your grief has a lot to do with reconciling yourself to the unwanted, right, change, the realities of the unwanted change in our life. There's some things we didn't want to change. Some jobs we didn't want to leave. Some family members we didn't want them to leave and check up out of here. There's some we didn't want to have. Well, we didn't want you to betray us. I didn't want this to happen. I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want these things to take place. And so part of that is reconciling, right, to the unwanted change that we did. This is not what I wanted. This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I had in mind, right? So how do we reconcile that? How do we come to peace with that? How do we come to grips with that? With the unwanted change that has taken place in our life. Reconciling my grief has a lot to do with reconciling myself to the realities of unwanted change in life. What are those things, the unwanted changes that have taken place? Of course, loved ones that died. We don't, that's, that was a change. I didn't want that to take place. This is unwanted. I want them back. Michael Jackson, I want them back. I want them back. I didn't want this to happen. Reconciling my grief is reconciling my reality with these unwanted changes that have taken place in my life, right? Only in living with authenticity, presence, and love each day can I create a new story that tells the truth and honors the realities and wonders of life as it actually is. How do I do that? Living with authenticity, presence, and love each day. When you live with authenticity, being real and true to yourself and how you feel, when you live with presence, when you live with love, each day you create a new story that tells the truth and honors the reality, a new story that tells the truth. Y'all, it's the natural and normal response, right? To loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. Express yourself, right? Tell the truth, right? You tell the truth. New story that tells the truth and honors the realities and wonders of life as it actually is. Yes, you dealt with loss. Yes, you dealt with change. Yes, you're dealing with transition. And part of reconciling your grief has to do with reconciling yourself with these unwanted changes. The only way you can do that is live with authenticity, presence, and love, and create a new story that tells the truth and honors the realities and wonders of life as it actually is. Here's the reflection and final thought, and I'll take your questions. He says, I ride atop the waves of change. I ride atop the waves of change. Think about a surfer who's riding the wave, right? You don't want to get washed under. You got to ride atop the waves of change because change is going to happen. Loss is going to happen. Transition is going to happen, right? Continue to live your life with authenticity, presence, and love as you navigate through this new normal and ride atop the waves of change. Today is day 13. My life constantly changes in ways I can't control. Talk to me. Thoughts, questions that you may have. Questions, thoughts that you may have. Question. Hey, Courtney. Yeah. On your mom's show. Heard you on the show. Great job. So honored to be on there. Such awesome. I love the platform. I love the seniors. I love the opportunity to be able to speak and bring awareness to that area. Pastor, this dropped in my spirit for you. Normalize mourning. Good grief. Yeah, I love that. That's good. Good grief. Normalize mourning. That's good. That's real good. It dropped in your spirit for a reason. We do need to normalize mourning because it seems so abnormal. So many of us are not aware of it. We do need to normalize mourning, expressing ourselves. Thank you for that. Hey, Tracy, how you doing? Good morning to everybody. Good morning to everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Monique. Good morning. Congratulations. Thank you. I don't know what I did. One thing in life that is inevitable is change. Yes, one thing that in life that isn't change is inevitable, right? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Change is inevitable. Change is inevitable. Y'all, I appreciate y'all. Keep locking in, keep tuning in. This year's going to be totally different as it relates to grief. There's going to be so many things that we're going to do that's going to bring just awareness and education to what we're doing. And so I appreciate y'all. Those hashtags are essentially what you are doing for us. Amen. I love it. And I love it, right? Normalizing mourning and good grief, right? We say good morning, good grief, all of those things. I love it. Normalize mourning, good grief. That's what we're attempting to do. That's the goal, right? Hold on to God's unchanging hand. That's how I feel. I love it. So many people are hurting because of death. I see death differently now. Yes, so many people are hurting. And you got to find a place to process that, right? Process what's going on. Process the death, right? So much loss, change, and transition is taking place. And we got to find opportunities to express ourselves to get it out. Good grief. I love this. Yes, good grief. Good grief. Like Charlie Brown. Good grief. I love it. I love it. I love it. We on a move, y'all. If this was a blessing to you, share it with somebody else. If it's a blessing to you, it's going to be a blessing to them. If you know they're dealing with loss, change, and transition, then share it with them. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. I look forward to connecting with y'all again. Y'all, every single day, we'll be here back tomorrow, 8 a.m., same bat channel, same bat station. Y'all hang in there. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. I'll see you soon. Let's go.